Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This is a continuation of the test server videos for the Batman Metal Part 1 DLC episode release that comes out September 12th. Technically this is the first of two raids. I showed you Monsters of Metal, that's technically the second raid in like story progression. This is the first one called False Idols. So it's now you get to see kind of how the story kind of progresses. Actually, there's not too much of a tie. The main tie is with that Sunblade weapon that if you remember from the video clip for Monsters of Metal, that's pretty much the only tie-in, as well as the Merciless boss, obviously, because you saw that new boss in Monsters of Metal, but this is where you actually first encounter him. So as you can see right off the bat, it is very similar, if not a carbon copy of, well, this is the Atlantis, not the Atlantis alert, this is the Themyscira alert, the beginning of it, and then you tie into Gods and Monsters as well, the raid. But honestly, I can give that a pass. Like, I know we've kind of harped on, or I've harped on, and for good reason, harped on recycled content in this episode, especially because they've had, what, 5-6 months to work on it. And really the only new raid being Monsters of Metal, and like open world, the solo, everything else is just, the alert is just a repeat. But this one's actually not too bad. You don't feel it as much because, yes, it's the recycled content in the background, but the ads themselves are slightly different in the way you kind of fight them. So you're not paying attention to like, oh, like I've seen this, this Themyscira alert like 50 times, like I'm tired of seeing it, because you're focused on the actual content, which is nice. So this raid, False Idols, was designed and created by the developer Sharon, who's personally my favorite developer. Sharon did Hive Elite. He did the Atlantis School alert. He did the Justice League Dark alert. He designed the Vampire Lord. So obviously he knows his stuff. He likes to have content that's challenging and engaging, and resist attempts to nerf it. So that's why I love him as a developer. If he was around back in the past, then who knows? We might not have some of these detrimental changes. So right off the bat, you're going to see it's not so prevalent in well, I guess I should say right away that as you can see from the CRs, they released the dark metal coins, the currency, on test server. So now we can have the full regular set. So that's why, like, myself and the majority of the group is CR 281. 281 is the full regular set. So no OP items, like no OP head, no OP neck, no elite gear. This is just full regular is CR 281, and I'll touch on like what the max CRs are and stuff like that in another video, because I always do that video where it's like everything you need to know before the DLC, like all the little changes. I still have that video coming out, so that'll touch on all the little questions that you guys have about it, and augments, skill points, all that kind of stuff. So right off the bat, you'll see a couple deaths here, like Who Am I just died there if you're watching. So the Cyclops ad, he picks up this rock boulder, and this rock is the strongest attack in the game's history. And I mean that, like, no joke. It is crazy, crazy one shot. Like, I've died, like, the rock has, like, he picks up the rock and throws it. Anyone in front of you dies instantly. So that's why, even if he smashes it, the thing is, if he picks up the rock and you stun him and the rock falls on the ground, you still get one shot from it because the rock will roll. So really, this is not a melee friendly raid at all. That's why I'm electric. Who Am I is a rage DPS. I think there's another melee DPS in there too. But this raid, False Idols, as you'll see kind of as it progresses, I just died for the rock. So he just picked up the rock. It just rolled towards me. 20k, 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 20k instantly. So nowhere is safe from that boulder. But yeah, as you'll see as the raid progresses, this is not a melee friendly raid. Not even in regular. Even in regular, we're full CR. Besides the elite gear, and you'll get wrecked in melee range. So you could get away with the mid range, but melee, no, it's just not going to work out as you can see as it progresses. You don't have to be full range, like mid range, but like the strict melee powers, like rage is going to get wrecked. Nature will be fine because it's more mid range. Earth should be fine, but you're not really mobile sitting in jackhammer, so you're going to take some deaths there too. So that's the issue, because you need to be mobile and keep moving around. This little section here, the issue is that the ads work the same way as GOM. So even these like trash mob ads, so because there's sentinels, the gorgons, the phoenixes, they all do the same thing. So the phoenix will heal, Cyclops throws those boulders, the gorgon will stone you because I was stoned earlier. But the issue is that there's still the sentinel shields. So there's 2 sentinels in this group of ads. So it's, even though it's regular, you can see my dots ticking for like 30s and 100s, because the sentinels are shielding each other, and then the phoenix will heal them. So even regular, it's kind of like it's pretty much like a shit show. What we had to do here is the tank had to pull the ads around the corner to separate them. So he's got the sentinel on the other side, so we can kill the ads, because the way the sentinel shield works is it's proximity based. So that if the sentinel's close to an ad, it's going to shield it. But since there's 2 sentinels, they'll shield each other. So it's like, well, you can't even kill the sentinel because the other sentinel is shielding that sentinel. So it just turns into a mess. It's one of those things where you might want to approach it this going forward, or the same thing. You're going to be in a pug just like we are and fighting the ads for like 5 minutes because you can't kill them all. So this is the first boss here. Obviously, Ares is nothing new. Right here, the Sunblade. The Sunblade is what ties into the second raid. That's the one that does like, crazy, super, like tens of millions of damage to those ice sharding ads. And you need the Sunblade to progress through Monsters of Metal. But this is where the first kind of boss fight happens. And this one's going to be super interesting in Elite. Monsters of Metal in Elite, because I've tried to run some of the Elite footage. It's the same kind of story. That's why this raid took so long to come out. It's just test server is really, really dead right now. Like, I'm running with my friends from the EU server league. That's why I'm running at like 11, 12 a.m. my time, because that's when they're on. So test server is like largely dead, which is kind of an issue getting Elite footage. So, and not even Elite footage. It's like Elite testing. So a lot of the stuff is going to be like Hive Elite and Machine Elite where it comes out, where a lot of fine-tuning will happen after the fact, because we've had no choice. Like, we can't run Elite. People are lagging on the test server, or they're not used to being on PC because they're PS players. So obviously their gameplay quality drops a bit because they're not used to the controls. So it's just, you already have that handicap on top of testing Elite, which doesn't work. So this is basically, this fight is very similar to the GOM fight, where you got to separate the bosses, kill the sentinel, everything like that. These sunbeam blades, that's kind of interesting. It's basically, think of it like Happiness Home, the laser is going to follow you. They do damage if they follow you, but other than that, you just avoid it. So in this fight, you have the Satire Bard. He's gonna, think of it like the Flash duo with Pied Piper. He's gonna fire these like musical balls at you. They're gonna stun you and kill anyone and do massive damage to anyone near you. And you're gonna be hard stunned. You can't break out of it. He fires those at you. Minotaur obviously fires. He does his boulder throw, and he charges. You've got the Phoenix, which dive bombs and heals. You got the Harpy, which dive bombs and kind of does that melee burst. So it's the same concept. A little bit like tiny changes, because obviously the Satire Bird didn't do the Pied Piper stun in GOM, and you had little minor changes. Now you fight the Cerberus, which is from Halls of Hades. Cerberus is the exact same. When he does the skull attack, you just have to watch out, because that's a flamethrower burst. If you're in front of it, you're going to die, which is also the tricky thing where you can't really melee this fight, because if you don't stay to his back, then you're going to die to the flamethrower. And you still have the heart. The thing is, you still have the ads out too. So while, yes, if you kill Cerberus, the fight ends, you still have to worry about like Harpy dive bombs, the Gorgon stuns, all that kind of stuff. You still have to worry about that. But Cerberus is really straightforward as a boss. Like, it's just, he's the easy one. And the thing in Elite is you have an extra wave of ads, so that's why it extends the fight even farther. So you got to kill all those ads and then eventually kill Cerberus. So it's more like surviving until the end, because obviously you've got to survive the multiple waves to get to Cerberus to be able to kill him. But Cerberus himself is really straightforward and easy. You don't have to worry about that at all. But as you can see, it's one of those raids where I would say it's more of a balance towards AoE damage. Like, yes, there's single target, but there's always going to be ads out at the single target as well. So it's not like you want to be heavily focused on single target. Like, if you were like, like obviously flurry shots similar, but not as obviously as powerful as before. But if you're like, just a prec flurry shot the boss, you're going to be losing massive damage, because you're only going to be hitting the boss unless you're like, electric prec or some kind of AoE prec in general. But it just comes to one of those where all the fights have huge AoE components to them, so it's not strictly single target. It's not like Justice League Dark, where you have ads eventually come out on Tala. Like, there's ads pretty much the entire time. So we get to teleport here. This is the part where, like, the first part obviously with the Themyscira alert. Now obviously you can see we're teleporting to GOM. So I guess it's a nice little touch where that dark hole, that's after you killed the gods of monsters. So after he's dead, we're kind of left in the ruins of whatever this map was, the arena. So this one is more just doing the raid in reverse. You're killing ads, really straightforward. Obviously, we're going through them a bit quicker because we've got, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4 DPS at 281 and then 1 at 277. But even then, as you can see from like the video, it's 20 minutes. So even at like fully geared like DPS that like know what they're doing, it's still a 20-minute raid. So it's still like no cakewalk. Where in terms of plugging and such, like it's not going to be like some like 15-minute raid and you're done. In terms of they're not harpies, are they hippies? Hippies? I forget what they were. I couldn't catch the names of them. The ads in the hallways here do nothing. Don't worry about them. I think they're just all one-handed. I don't really see them doing any type of damage at all. Same thing, just like you do in GOM normally, or sorry, not GOM, Olympus. Just like you do in Olympus, run down, aggro the set of ads that are down the stairs. They walk up the stairs. By the time they do, the other set is dead, just to kind of save some time. But that's more just like, best practice. Okay, so now we're approaching the second boss. This one is actually a super, super interesting fight. Pugs are going to hate this, and you're going to hate pugging it. Because it's one of those things where if you ignore the mechanics in the fight, you die, you wipe. You just because there's a lot of things going on at once. It's really fun. Honestly, well, to me it's fun because it's really engaging. But pugs are going to hate it. They're going to complain. They're going to cry. They're going to bitch. They're going to moan because if you have a bad pug group or people that like tunnel vision don't pay attention, then you're going to have a bad time. And already it's super hard in Elite. So this is one of the fights where he is really hard to melee once again. He does a lot of like ground smashes and AoE attacks. So basically the first part here, we kind of skipped a phase because we did it so quickly. So lava starts to pull out, and then you have these forges that you have to hit. The problem is you see all these forge weapons, they're proximity aggro based. So they're going to stay right on that forge and not move. And you can't pull them and you can't really stun them. So you need to be shielded. If you don't have shields from a healer or a controller, there's no possible way you're gonna finish this. No possible way, unless you're running a shield in your build out. So as you can see here, with all the lava pulling out, this is because we're failing and no one's actually getting the forge on the other side because for whatever reason they ignored it or forgot about it or thought is regular and we could go through it. So this is what happens when you screw up. The lava pools out to all the ground. You're taking massive dots from. You could see a 10k dot from that. All the forge weapons are still doing damage. So once you turn all those 4 forges, the lava goes away. The forge weapons stay out, but the lava goes away. And now, because we're doing it so quickly, he goes into a second phase. I can see forge weapons all over the place. We had to be shielded, run to get the forge. You have to turn. There's 3 of them, right? Yeah, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, as you can see, massive AoE damage. The forge weapons will stay on you the whole time. So you can see the forge weapons are still hitting you for like 12k. Not 12k, but like 6k, 5k, 5k. So if you're, picture yourself in melee range. If you're in melee range, you've got like 6 different forge weapons on you. So the other part here, as you can see, like a stable that it's really quick, but as you can see there at the end there, those animations spawn underneath you. That does like a lava strike. So there's a lot more. Well, that's not a lot more. There's a lot more pile up of mechanics on here. We just did it so fast because our damage was high that we kind of skipped some of it. You're still stuck doing the lava phases. Those are scripted, but you can skip over some of like the lava spouts and the air spout ones because the damage is higher. But as you'll see, like day 1 when you pug it, there's a lot of stuff to pay attention to. So the main thing is you need coordination, because if you don't get a shield from the healer or like an atomic tank running mass density or like the troller running a shield, there's no way you're going to turn those forges because the weapons are just going to keep hitting you. And that's the main focusing here, because obviously if all the lava's out, the lava doesn't disappear until all the forges are done. So unless you've got like 2 healers just dumping power healing the group, that's not going to happen. And obviously you're not going to get a res in the lava when there's an 8k dot on you. So there is a cutscene here. Somebody ran ahead and started it, so that's why we're not actually in the cutscene. I do apologize for that because you don't get to see it, but whatever. It's just basically the Merciless spawning. So the Merciless is the new boss, the one that we haven't fought before. So this one it's a really interesting fight as well. So you'll see these like purple auras that are on the ground. They summon lightning bolts and they'll turn you into a skeleton and hard stun you. It does happen to me eventually in the clip, which I kind of zoom up on and I'll mention it again. Once again, he's got a reflect mechanic. He'll kill anyone in melee range. That's why Rev, Whamai, and Stable just got instantly one shot because they're on melee range. Because he does, he's a two-handed boss, so he's going to do Doom Spin. He's going to basically do the ground smash. So once again, not really fight you can melee. As you right now saw here, you get stuck in this animation where you have to bow and break out. See right now, I got stunned by the electricity because I was stuck in the field. I couldn't move. And then it basically hard stun you. I don't think it does damage. I didn't see that it did damage, but it does stun you. So other than that, it's basically just a single target fight. He does his reflect mechanic, which you have to watch for, but it doesn't really last that long. And then eventually, once you get him down to 35% health, ads will come out. And then there's this large coin that I haven't really figured out what the coin does yet. But essentially, you just have to kill the ads, and then he'll break out of his phase, and you can damage him again. But other than that, it's more just like watching electricity strikes because that'll stun you, and they should do some damage. And then he's obviously just did his Doom Spin again that just wrecked another DPS, and has his reflect mechanic as well. The reflect mechanic isn't as strong in regular; it's only about a 12k dot. But same thing, if the healer's not on it or something like that, then obviously just best practice is to not hit the reflect shield. So as you can see here, he should be spawning the ads soon. Yeah, he goes into his vulnerable phase, still doing Doom Spin. He summons the coin. I'm not entirely sure what the coin does. I'm not sure if it does anything. It's just something related to him. But basically it buffs his damage to you. Like you're hardly doing any damage to him. And then all the ads spawn, the exemplars in the center, so you have to wreck them. Same thing. That's why this fight, in the beginning, it's really single target, but at the end, it's like massive AoE. Like you have to kill these ads to be able to DPS Merciless again, so you can't really be a pure single target build because you have to do AoE damage as well. And this keeps happening. So it's what am I at? 17 minutes. So we did this for another. So it's basically like 3-4 minutes once he gets to 35%, and this is like high damage as well. So obviously it's going to take longer in day one or in the first couple weeks because no one's going to be at like max CR. So it's going to take a little bit longer, but this is 4 minutes just of this, like killing ads and then DPS in the Merciless a bit because he's got that coin. I'm going to call it like a defense buff, and then basically allows you to attack him again. And still the same thing. I believe he still does his reflect mechanic, still does his Doom Spin. And the whole, like, yeah, you have to protect Wonder Woman while she does stuff. All right, so Wonder Woman just uses the Sunblade to destroy the coin, so I'm assuming so we can damage him again. That's what the ads do. The ads are going to try to kill Ares and Wonder Woman, so as long as you're killing the ads, then you're fine. If you just ignore them and try DPS Merciless, that's when, obviously, Wonder Woman's going to die, and it's just going to last even longer. So that's why there's still the huge focus is on killing the ads, because there's no point of even DPSing. Well, you can DPS Merciless, but you're not going to do any really damage to him, because it's like, it's going to hit for hundreds instead of thousands. Not sure if an orbital does full damage or not. I didn't drop one. Yeah, so the Sunblade just kind of heats up the coins, and obviously then coin explodes, and then Merciless is defeated. So all in all, it's recycled content, but it's actually not too bad of a raid. Like this is more. I had more fun running this than some of the other raids, just because it's really engaging. Like, and especially in Elite, anything will like one shot you. Like the Satire is going to one shot you. The Boulder, like that Harpy dive bombs, the Phoenix dive bombs, and the Elite. There's obviously just like Gom, where it's double bosses. So it's just. There's so many things to pay attention to and so many things going on at once that it just kind of distracts you from everything else. It's really engaging. So I do like this raid. I don't think it's going to be an issue having like this being a Themyscira alert and being in GOM. So, but all in all, it's a really nice raid. Hopefully I can bring you some Elite footage. If not, then this is what you're going to have to expect. But take care, guys. Thanks for watching, as always.